Good evening, friends. It's nice to see all of you after a long hiatus of 2 years in physical presence of members in our meeting. We've had good meetings even when the COVID was at its peak or when we could not meet, so to say. But we thought now we must have a good meeting with things falling into place, and that's why when I met Dr. Deborah, requested her that she kickstart the proceedings for this year. And it's been good. And please sit down, so that we can start off thing. So once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. And we have an interesting talk and a presentation by Dr. Thiagrajan, and I'm sure all of you will go back with a new perspective of what heritage is all about and what Dakshina Chitra is all about. How many of you have been to Dakshina Chitra, the students? How many have been? She wants to know. Now you can raise your hand. No, this side, see, this side is the youngsters are not seen. Yeah. I mean, that's history now. You will see, what matters is these people should go, not us. She doesn't want us. So, okay. I would like to say that, see, it's all about how media is helping or not helping heritage. Yesterday, how many of you all saw the bulldozer rally? I didn't see. In Gorakhpur, which is the Chief Minister Yogi's said, first time in the world, nowhere, that the commentators and in the TV and all were saying that there were so many rallies they have seen, this rally, that rally, religious rally, a rally for hunger and so many other things, but not with bulldozers. There were a string of bulldozers. They're saying how they got this, from where they got all these bulldozers. Almost 15, 20 bulldozers, and they're sitting on that, and the rally goes on. And it goes up and down like the, you sit in the exhibitions and the, giant wheel, So that was amazing. So, it's always a tough situation for anybody, particularly in heritage and all, because somehow newspapers across the world, it's not here alone, the political framework takes much of the space. It's not that they are not interested, but I think that's what makes the paper sell, so they are there. But let me formally again welcome Dr. Thiagrajan, Deborah Thiagrajan, and please request you to come forward and take your seat. So once again, a very warm welcome, and I'll start with a few quotes on heritage before I hand over the proceedings to Dr. Thiagrajan. Some interesting quotes which I saw. Our heritage talks about the roots of our nation. Preserving our heritage in India is critical for cultural and economic strength of the nation. Monumental heritage is more than financial heritage. Preserve it for future generations. Mahatma Gandhi has said, a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the soul of its people. We have somebody who says, a people without the knowledge of their past history, very important for all of you. Origin and culture is like a tree without roots. And finally, Steve Berry says, a concerted effort to preserve our heritage is a vital link to our cultural, educational, aesthetic, inspirational, and economic legacies. All of the things that quite literally make us whom we are. So with these few words of introduction and while thanking the entire team of the Executive Committee of PRSI for putting this show together, which you will hear more from our secretary when he speaks. And now I hand over to Ramesh to take over and conduct the show, please.
Thank you, Chairman. A warm welcome to the Speaker of the Day and PRSI members and students from Stella, Vaishnava and Wales University, MOP Vaishnava, Satyabhama. PRSI, for the benefit of young students, is about 50-year-old organization. All the communicators from the corporate media are part of this apex body. PRSI is spread over entire country, close to about 45 chapters, and every year there is an annual mela where all best of the speakers, experts from the industry converge, connect and share their wisdom. In short, this is all about PRSI, and I request all of you to be regular in the meeting so that you will get to know more about PRSI and benefit from this apex body. With this, I welcome Mr. Daniel to formally introduce the Speaker of the Day.
Before that, with the bouquet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, may I request you to. Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Ramesh. Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege today to introduce our chief guests and speaker, Dr. Deborah Thiagrajan. Most of you know. Anyway, I'll just read out a few things out of all her contribution in this field of heritage. And one thing I was just impressed was about the sort of academic qualification she has. I just also inquired how only you have done so much in this time. Well, I start with her position with Madras. She is the founder president of Madras Craft Foundation, honorary director Dakshina Chitra Heritage Museum, also past director of Dakshina Chitra Heritage Museum, which is an NGO effort to preserve, promote and showcase everyday arts, architecture and folk performing arts of South India from the 19th century to the present day. She was the convener and founder of the Tamil Nadu State Chapter for the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, which most of you know it as INTAC. In fact, she has been the convener and founder and also in charge for a period of 14 years from 1984 to 1998. Deborah has a rich academic background. She holds an MA from the University of Pittsburgh on International and Development Education, MA, University of Pennsylvania on South Asian Regional Studies specific to art history, PhD from the University of Madras, Department of Ancient Indian History and Culture. It's not over, still you have to wait. 1 year internship at University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and a few short-term courses on museum course at Smithsonian, Washington, Getty Foundation Leadership Program for Senior Museum Personnel, Japan Foundation Program, which is a 2-week seminar in Japan and various community museums for examining representations of genders and minorities. She has also attended the IPAM exchange program with Peabody Essex Museum, Massachusetts. Well, a few of her awards, what she has received, I would like to mention. Pride of Chennai in 2016, awarded by Rotary Club. India Today Women Achiever Award 2015. Champion of Chennai 2014, Ritz Magazine Award 2014, Lifetime Achievement Award from the Rotary Club in 2012, and Vocational Achievement Award also from Rotary Club. Also, she has received the award from Bharata Vidya Bhavan. With these few words, may I request our speaker to take on the floor.
Thank you. I was very happy to be here. Thank you, Satyan, for inviting me. You didn't give me much time to prepare, however. But we all know that media is absolutely crucial to the preservation and promotion of heritage, because only media has the ability to forge perceptions in people's minds of the value of heritage. And this is very critical. Now, maybe for our students, I'll say what exactly is heritage. According to the UNESCO Covenant, there's material heritage, which is buildings and monuments, but not just that, it's whole neighborhoods, the whole context in which heritage occurs. And there's intangible heritage, which are the skills that people have that if they're not promoted, if they die and they're the only ones with the skills, then that is lost for posterity. And India is facing a lot of vulnerable crafts and performances. Kuriyatam, for instance, it's Sanskrit performance. Weaving, handloom weaving. Tremendous skills of weaving the weavers have, but no son of a weaver wants to be a weaver. No child of a craftsperson, but mainly sons, want to be a craftsperson. So we hope that women will take on these areas. That would be very important. And then there's ecological heritage. And that, of course, is what we're most concerned about with planet warming. The water bodies, our forests, our birds, agriculture, food. That's a major topic nowadays because our food sources are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. There was a man who I listened to a talk he did research on different vegetables. And Tamil Nadu had 77 varieties of vegetables. You go to the vegetable market, you won't find more than 12 different vegetables, and they're primarily Western-oriented vegetables. And of course, rice varieties, from the hundreds of rice varieties, it's down to 3 varieties. So our heritage needs to be protected in just many, many ways. Now, you all know about Kiladi, right? Have you heard of Kiladi? Yes. Yeah, the architectural site. That's gotten huge media projection. And why? About our heritage, it was about our roots.
About the roots in your heritage. It's very politically oriented because Tamil Nadu thinks it's our retort to Lothar and the Harappan civilization up north, showing that Tamil Nadu has an equally ancient and refined culture. So it's very politically oriented in that sense. And a lot of heritage just doesn't get any mention in the media. There was a wonderful early 1st century BCE Buddhist site that was uncovered near Gulbarga just about 8 years ago. Not a word of media anywhere. And why? The Deccan, everybody has heard of Hampi, right? Hampi. Yeah. So the Hampi, the whole Hampi was devastated by the Muslim sultans of the Deccan. That was in the Battle of Talikota in 1565. So all the northern part of the Deccan is primarily Muslim monuments. And not only media has neglected it, but also the government there. When I first went there, I had to drive from Gulbarga to Bijapur. There were no tarred roads. Now they've got beautiful roads. A few years ago, the Metropolitan Art Museum in New York conducted 2 wonderful exhibitions on the beautiful artifacts and cultures of the Deccan. That got world publicity,
And after that, we're talking about media, after that, Karnataka stepped up. They're putting a airport in Gulbarga. I said, they've done all the roads. They suddenly realized, wow, we have a major tourist site right here. And of course, there are wonderful Hindu monuments also. The Chalukyas did fabulous stuff. Patadakal, Aioli, Badami. It's all, now it's getting attention. Before there was no attention. So politics does have a lot to do with media. And I think we have to go through that. When I took over as the chairman of INTAC, we decided that we would do the waterways. We wanted to clean up. We wanted to do something with the Coombe and the Buckingham Canal and the Adia River. And this culture is basically a reflection of our ecology. And so I organized collaborations with so many different organizations, and we did programs and processions, and we collected over 900,000 signatures, 1 rupee a signature, which we used to fund the campaign. And that was to be given to the government. So we got wonderful publicity on it. And then, after a while, all the publicity sort of died out. I was a little naive. You see, Rajiv Gandhi, when he was Prime Minister, he was the head of INTAC. And when he was no longer the Prime Minister of INTAC, who wanted to give much in the media for cleaning up the rivers, particularly after the AIADMK came in? So politics and media, as Satyan said, they have a nice relationship. And so, getting back to Heritage of Madras, one day, S. Mutaya, you know S. Mutaya, right? And we went down to CMDA. We had prepared a whole list of heritage buildings, and we wanted the government to have a law which would protect these buildings. 45 of them were government buildings, so you said you start with the government buildings. And really, they looked at us and they laughed. They said there are only 5 people in this city who care whether any building comes down. And we're a democracy, so we can only do what the people want us to do. So of course, no law. 25 years later, a sort of a law came, but it's not really implemented. So I went back. This is a little bit about the origins of Dakshin Chitra. And I did some homework, I did some reading. And I discovered that it was in the 1960s that all the people's movements for preservation took place. I mean, there was some preservation before, but there were mass movements and protests in Europe, the US, Australia. I don't know what happened in the East because I didn't study that. So then I realized you really do need a people's movement. If people have to be interested in their heritage. And if they're not, nothing is going to happen. And so coming from the West, I guess, I thought, well, if you put everyday heritage in an upmarket setting, maybe people will stand up and take note of it. And so that was the idea of Dakshina Chitra. Then I spent 3.5 years in basically in villages. I worked in the Tamil Nadu Nutrition Project as an anthropologist, and I was also hired to evaluate the efficiency of the midday meals program throughout the state. And I've been here a long time, so this was in the 70s. and I was in villages every day. So I was in contact with masons, jewelers, weavers, all kinds of people, all women, and folk performing artists, everybody. So I spent my life basically for almost 3 years in villages. And that was, I would say, the most enlightening experience I've ever had. Because you really don't know India if you don't know rural India, truly. The creativity that we have today has actually come from rural India. It comes into the city. And this was in the 70s. There's still a lot of ambiguity coming out of colonialism. It takes time to set your mind, set from going from one culture to another. And there was a lot of disappointment in the artisans of the villages because they felt that they weren't appreciated. They felt that what does an artisan want? He wants dignity, he wants respect. That's even more important to him than a lot of money. But when I came back, when we moved to Madras, I was living in Coimbatore at the time. I felt that there had to be a platform for these artisans and the folk performing artists, and there should be something which will preserve all the aesthetics. There's a certain culture that's there in the village, and the architectural models that we have at Dakshina Chitra, they represent the ecology of certain areas, and they're authentic houses. We buy them and we take them down and we reconstruct them. So anyway, creating an awareness and also understanding that heritage can disappear overnight within 50 years. And you see now in the villages, it's very hard to find, first of all, it's very hard to find a thatch house. You find mainly cement houses now. And in other parts, like in Andhra Pradesh, very hard to find anything but a cement house. So, and of course, people do want to live well, so that's fine. But then something from the past should be there. So anyway, in 1984, I founded the society, the Madras Craft Foundation, and we didn't have any money, we didn't have any land, and we didn't have any collections. So a rather audacious idea to start a museum. We took until the end of 1990 for land. The state government finally gave us land, and then we could start to build. And we got a grant for over 10 years, from 1991 to 2001, 1.49 crores we got from the Development Commissioner Handicrafts. And I told them, I said, whatever you give me, I will match 2-to-1 by industry and the community. And I told the people I went to for fundraising, whatever you give me, I will match by 1 rupee from the government. And so that worked, and we raised, and not just me, we were a whole set of volunteers. And all of the volunteers raised money. I mean, I'll tell you, Madras was a wonderful community, because all these men, these professional men, I was just telling someone, the senior engineer from L&T worked with us for 8 years. You know, a senior vice president from Metalbox who set in all our administration systems, a senior cost and chartered accountant who did all our accounts and set in our financial system. All these were volunteers, you know, and not that they were wealthy, but they just felt, okay, this is something we can do, and they were committed to culture, really. And so we had a lot of people helping us. And we opened in January 1997. This is our 25th anniversary. We've been around for 25 years, which is really quite a feat considered how we started. So together, as I said, we raised the money to put it up. And then we opened, and we made all these elaborate programs. This was the volunteers. One for Dastara, one time we brought in a mother elephant and her baby. And then the poor Mahuti kept saying, we have to leave, we have to leave. I said, we haven't had the procession yet. And then the baby fell asleep. And you know when a baby elephant falls asleep, he doesn't sleep for a few hours. He sleeps for 24 to 48 hours. And we couldn't get him on the Lord. They were so furious with us that we wouldn't move them. But so we had all these programs. We didn't have many visitors. And that's what I meant Satyam Bhat. Because what would happen is we would get all these programs ready about 3 or 4 days before the event. So there was no time to do any media. So I contacted Satya and I said, you got to help us. We need some media coverage so we can get visitors. And he said, well, I'll help you, but I need all information 1 month before the program. So for our staff, 1 month, we have to do things in advance. So anyway, I don't remember, 2 years you were on retainer, but he got us disciplined. And not only that, now you know what we do? Right up from after that, when we do our budgeting, every department, education, programs, curation, they have to give a full year budget. And so that means that they have to think in advance of what are the programs they're going to do. Because only then does it work. And so he got us started. And I guess I should show you a bit about the slides. I can't read without my glasses. Today, before COVID, we had 250,000 visitors. So the first year, I think we had 8,000, and now we have 250,000. COVID was tough for us. We were closed for over 12 months. We have 71 staff. We paid them full salary for all 12 months. We had brought in a house from Kerala to build, and we bought all the wooden artifacts, and we built it up to the plinth, but all the money for building the house went for salaries. So now we have our hands out. How do we get money to put up the rest of the house? And we were just offered a house from Korg, an Einmane from Korg, which is quite a wonderful thing that we're going to bring in April. Then again, we have to build it. So this is what it looked like in the beginning. There were no trees, there was nothing, it was all sand. And we were given it without an entrance. Can you believe it? And so it took us 7 years to get the person in front of us to give us land. He said, no, it's ancestral land, I can't sell it. So it was difficult. So this is the Kerala house. Now we just had rains. So the canals were full. Now why do we have canals at Dakshina Chitra? Because after we got the land, let's see if I blow a baker. This is the site now. After we got the land, I went one day, it was in December, and it had poured rain, and the whole bottom of the site was flooded. Our architect was Larry Baker, so I called him, I said, you have to come, I don't know what to do. So he took, you don't need all of this. That was for that project. But he came and he took the lowest part of the section and he dug it lower and raised the other, and that's why we have canals and everything. Before, we used to have water in it at least 3 months of the year, because that was actually the water table. Now it lasted about 2.5 weeks from the last rains. This is a Chennai house. This is a Tamil Nadu street. So what we've done is we've tried to put the houses in the context in which they were. This is a Brahmin street you see on the left, and it was from Buttapandi, and from the Tinnevelly side. So actual, one house is actual, and the others are open up into a gallery. And this is inside the weaving house from Kanjipuram. This Ayanar shrine. This is a Calicut house, a Nayar house. And in each of these houses, we've interviewed family members, and this house particular, a woman who's older than me, she grew up in it, and she told the whole story of what it was like to grow up in a house like this. This is a North Indian house, a Deccan house from Ilko, and the weaving from Ilko. I'm actually a textile fanatic, so I have three looms and 3 different weavers. We have a full-time weaver, a Kanjipuram weaver we have at the center. This is the kitchen there. This is a Chikmagalur house. It's a Muslim trader house, and this tells the story of, oops, I'm not pressing anything. The Chikmagalur house tells the story of Islam in South India, and how the soldiers and sailors came over from 1st century BCE, and they had to wait for the winds always to go back, and of course there were no hotels. So generally they married South Indian Hindu women, and in the southern districts of Tamil Nadu, there's the kinship terms are the same for Hindus and Muslims, and they're very integrated actually. This is a weaver's house from Andhra Pradesh, from Nalgonda. And this is the coastal area houses that they have there. And we have a craft bazaar. We have 20 craftspeople. This is from our reception center. And anyway, I might as well read this. Right in the beginning, we did a survey of all our visitors, and they said, we don't want to look at objects, we want to do things. So we want an experience, and I think that's true even much more today than it was then. So we started 20 activities that anybody could do. And, from weaving with palm leaf to rock printing to even cola making, many, many different things. And that's made us very popular. And kids love it. We have a special education area for kids also. And we get about 50,000 children. So we're constantly working on different programs. And then we bring in at least 20 to 25 folk performing artists every year. Tomorrow we have a ceremony where we're giving a Lifetime Achievement Award to an absolutely wonderful, innovative shadow puppeteer from Kerala. And he's here with his troupe, and he'll give a shadow performance. It's at 4 in the afternoon, if anyone wants to come. And again, we brought the craft and the objects which were used during those times and put them in the house. So we tried to put them in context. On the left, Ram Velu, he was full-time at the center, and Tower Books just did a beautiful publication on him because he's a wonderful, creative potter. He's getting old now. And K. Savannah Weaver, he's also a brilliant weaver, was a what do you call it? Independence fighter during the Prakash. He goes to schools and does workshops. And Begum, she's also very innovative. And our craftspeople get taken all over the world also. So the other visitors will come and they'll say, gee, we're doing something in Dubai, would you like to come? And then they go. And we have a glass blower. He's gone all over Europe. And I don't know, you saw those two, the two Toba women, they were just in the newspaper yesterday. 2 of them got an award from the president of India. They sing actually, they're quite amazing. And also we brought in a Sadir dancer who's in her 80s, and Kanama. And no one had ever brought her in or given an award. So we gave her an award, which she was so thrilled with, and she got the Padma Shri this year. So she said that more than the Padma Shri, I'm so thrilled with the award I got from Dakshina Chitra, because that was the first award I ever got in my life. And we had all the Kanjipuram dancers come, because people don't know the traditional styles of Sadir before Bharatanatyam. And we have a ceramic center. These are just some of the crafts that I said, the folk performing arts we bring in. So many, what a rich tradition there is. I mean, we have all these school programs, and I don't want to do finance and budgeting. And we do, these are actually corporation schools. The corporation sends us a batch of corporation schools every, you can read this, every week, and once a month we train corporation school teachers how to bring in heritage. How do you make heritage and history interesting? And we have an arts management program for postgraduates. It's a full one-year program. Now applications are open. It starts in July. It's called the MCF Chola Arts and Museum Management Program. It's funded by Chola. We give a 10,000 rupee a month stipend to each student. We take only 10 students. They have 2 days of academic courses, and 4 days they work in the departments of the museum. So they learn how does an organization run. This is one of some of the arts management students. 2 of our students have received Fulbright fellowships, and almost all of them are working in positions in the arts. Usually a lot of the kids, when they come in, they know they want to be in the arts, but they don't know quite what they want to do. And so this program helps them. By the end of the year, they really know, first of all, they get more confidence. We make them work. I wish they'd read more. We have a wonderful 15,000 book library. One of our interns is running a 6-month archaeology course, which is running it with the superintendent of archaeology, and we have participants from all over the world. And our intern, Yara, she's really good. And this is Stephen Eckert from the Smithsonian. He's came 3-4 years in a row to work with our education department and also to work with our interns. So we reach out across. We've done programs in Sweden. We've done programs in Canada, in the U.S. with collaborations. We seek collaborations. I think an organization like ours, the more collaborations we have, whether they're local, whether they're foreign, whatever they are, it enriches all of us. Is that it? Yeah, okay. So, I think, what I didn't say is how COVID has changed the world, okay? And truly, we all have to adapt. The museums have to adapt. We did online programs, as you did also, all through the pandemic. And we're looking at augmented reality, virtual reality, to see what is it we can do. The founder of the Kochi Biennale, Bose Krishnachari, he's going to do be the curator for our next exhibition. He's agreed to do it. And, well, you know, it's a big challenge of what we can do and how we have to change. And people are changing very fast. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for taking us to Dakshin Chitra again. I must have gone to the place at least 25 times.
That's wonderful.
Every year, I was part of LNT a few years back, and every year summer camp used to be there. And all of us used to take our children there and have fun. And every time I go, I find a new dimension. And recently I saw this is open to small functions and weddings, very nicely conducted. And now she says that AR and VR, combination of this with history and heritage, it will be a fabulous experience. Thank you for giving the insight of the germination part. Not many people knew how you fought and built this space. In spite of being there for 25 times, I never knew this fact. Thank you for that. And as a token of our love and affection, I request Mr. Krishnan, our past chairman, to present a memento, please.
Thank you so much.
Questions? Yeah, she can take questions and...
Okay.
Good evening, Dr. Narayan Tirumurthy. How are you reaching the arm on me? Is it high strata oriented?
No,
How are you positioning it?
No, not at all. Actually, our visitors are primarily middle class, and again, all the corporation schools, village schools are free. We have one day a year where we do a Grama Makal festival, which is all free to villagers, and we have all kinds of games which they love. It's completely tailored to them, and we also have a special English program, which we teach people. It's a digital program with a screen, but it's 130 lessons. So we teach speaking English to villagers. We'd love to be able to use it for teachers, because teachers need it just as much as the kids. Because those who teach English in a lot of the village schools don't know any English. And we'd like to reach out more with training. We did do training with folk performing art groups also. And as I said, we do, we need grants for this. So actually the Murugappa group, I must say, has been very generous. And then we had some wonderful training for, we're learning through the arts for village kids. From Tirupurur, from Kanatur, from Kovalam, and we had a session, we had 10 sessions per group every Saturday morning for 10 times, and then afternoon another group. The schools like the girls separately and the boys separately, so we have a separate group for boys and a separate group for girls. Yeah, no, we're surrounded by villages, so we really need to be inclusive. In fact, that's one of our goals, is to be inclusive. So, yes?
Which heritage you feel being protected in Tamil Nadu? If the Chettinad house is being well protected?
In Chettinad itself?
Yeah.
I was married to a Chettiar, unfortunately he passed away, but you can only protect a Chettinad house if the family members want it protected. And like our family house, we just renovated it at a cost of 60 lakhs. So if you have 10 members and they don't want to pay for that, in fact, earlier on, one of my husband's cousins said, let's just pull it down. But you don't get any money really when you pull down a house, you get very little. And yeah, because they're joint family houses. So, but one good thing has happened is that some of the families are leasing out their houses for hotels. And there's a wonderful hotel in Kadiyapatti, which is near, no, not at Karakudi. I don't know how close, it's near Tirumayam. There's a fort and there's a temple. No, it's Pudukkottai district, I think. Not sure. But anyway, there's a main road from Karakudi that goes to Pudukkottai. And those are the very wealthy houses. There were 4 sides to Chettinad, north, south, east, and west. And when I came long ago, first of all, the north would marry with the east, and the south with the west. But they wouldn't, all 4 wouldn't marry. So now all 4 marry. As of sometime in the 70s, they all started marrying. There are only 123,000 Chettiars all over the world. So they're not many. So they make a lot of galata for being so few. But yeah, that's why with houses it's very difficult. But houses which would have come down, now that they see, okay, we can make money from it and still keep it, there must be at least 6 or 7 hotels now in Chettinad. So, but a lot of houses will still come down. Very sad.
So, Satya, your findings for this visibility and communication strategy for heritage, which you can share with the students?
Why am I here? Let me tell you why I'm here tonight. Because I contacted Satyan. Okay, he helped us once when we had no media coverage. I said, okay, from COVID and the pandemic and, we need to reach out now. We have 250,000 visitors early. We have to bring them back, and we have to get up to 350,000. Because we have to be able to increase our salaries. We have to be able to put in infrastructure. And we have been self-sustaining. I think we're the only self-sustaining museum in India. Maybe the CSMVS in Bombay is also because they can just go to Citibank and they give them 3 crores. They go to this bank and they get another. I'm very jealous of them. Because Madras is not like that. But, it's, so anyway, Satyan's job now is to help me increase my visitorship by looking at niche communities, and he has to tell you what strategy he's going to use. I'm putting him on the line.
He said something, in fact he suggested to me, I'm running a YouTube.
Yeah.
He said to have an interview. I said I will be going to Dakshina, Chitra and and they have to do the interview. He already interviewed me.
That's very good. Actually, someone wants to interview me tomorrow, but I had a very fortuitous meeting a few weeks ago. I was at Dakshina, Chitra, and ran into this man. Now, he happened to be the director Asia Pacific of YouTube and Google, Ajay Vijayasagar. And he said, I just love Dakshina Chitra. I won't come to he's based out of Singapore now. He was the head of Sun TV, and he was the president of, another big TV program in
Star TV.
Star TV for 16 years. So he said, I'll help you in any way. But he said, what is trending now is the vernacular. He said, you do video, voice, vernacular. And I don't know if any of you have watched this. There's a program that takes place in Madurai. And they're farmers, a couple of farmers, and then some local chef. And they have harvested their vegetables and grains, and they're cooking it right there, and they're doing a phone actually view. And I watched one episode. I thought it was nice. And it's in Tamil. They get 6 million followers. 6 million. And as Ajay told me, he said there are only 66 million Tamil-speaking people in the world. And we have 6 million following them. And so food, the vernacular, I think everybody wants to, they want to be down to earth. I think they want to know that life is normal somewhere. I don't know. So we're doing he told us, Ajay said, look, you've got so many stories and layers of stories in Dakshina Chitra. So you start uncovering those stories and you start videoing them. And he said, I'll help you promote them.
I just wanted to add one point for his question. Satyan is taking classes, guest lectures in all the
Colleges.
So he will be directly communicating all this strategy to them.
So
Any other question?
So I'm really putting him on the line now, because he's made me be a speaker here. So anyway.
Provoke the students to ask.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. You must ask some questions. No, don't tell me you have no questions at all. You don't get scared. See, the moment you sit tight, then progress is halted there.
But one thing
Yes, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Great for the meeting, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's like, I'm Rajiv from MCC College, ma'am. It's like people like me who are really lazy to find some classes, ma'am. We are like, I'm just interested in some classes like pottery and sculptures and all those things, ma'am. But I don't know where to learn these stuff and where to get to this.
How to do it.
Yeah, ma'am. How to do it, ma'am. It's like, where should we find it? Especially lazy persons like me.
Yeah, come to Dakshina Chitra and take a look. But one thing I would like to urge all of you, including you, you have to read. You cannot just skim the internet and think that you've learned, because we need content. You know, you have to be able to write good content. You have to be able to know good content, and I get very distressed when I see that people think, if I do this, it's fine. It's not fine. You know, we need thinkers. We need people who think and reflect. That's very critical. Boys particularly.
Do you have a program for the family outing, like bring the children there?
We do. We have special activities for kids, and we actually have guest houses too, so that if somebody wanted to spend the night with their children, then we have special programs and activities for the children the next day. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, please.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm really excited to thank you for that. This is Padmashri Balakrishnan from MOB Graduate College. And my question to you is, what made you choose southern part of India as your primary focus for art and television, while the entire rest of the country is equally
Yeah.
What made you
No, because there's so much done in the north, and the south is very underrepresented. And I was married to a South Indian. I live in Tamil Nadu. In fact, when Hegde was the chief minister of Karnataka, he offered me land to do it outside of Bangalore. But then I thought I have to go back and forth and I have kids, how will I do it? And then actually Tamil Nadu is my home.
Yes, yeah, from this side.
Somebody from here, some question, come on.
MOP is silent.
They'll go home and think about it and say, yeah, I could have said this and I could have said that.
Come on, come on. You MOP has asked, you ask. Whatever it is, see.
Myself Abhirami from Chennai College.
Yeah.
You can remove the mask. 1 minute, yeah.
My question here is, what kind of campaigns did you conduct for bringing visibility for Dr. Chitra in Tamil Nadu?
What kind of campaigns? Basically, no, because of Sati. And what we did is when we have a program, we have to do a good write-up. That's why you have to read and you have to be able to write. And we send it to the press. And we find that when we get to the Tamil press, we get many, many more visitors than when we have it in the English press. But we're very happy. I mean, we're actually very grateful to the Hindu and the Express because they do cover a lot of art and heritage, and they've always covered our programs. So those are the campaigns we've done so far.
Thiru, just to answer your question, and the
Students are here.
Yeah.
Now
the focus will be on the social media. It's not going to be only the mainline media, the traditional media,
Yeah.
more on social media.
So what we have a site on Instagram, so you should go on Instagram to find our programs, and on Facebook, and we put our programs on YouTube. So, and of course WhatsApp for people like me, and then email is, my publicity person is an ex-intern. She said, but nobody goes on WhatsApp. I said, we all my age go on WhatsApp. And we put our programs on YouTube. And now we've taken a decision that every program we do physically, we will put it on YouTube. Yeah, we'll put it on social media also. But it takes time. It takes editing, videoing. It takes a lot of effort to do that. You need really good people, actually, to do it. So social media is the key. What to do.
So before I request Secretary for his announcements, I must say that tomorrow is a very important day in the annals of PRSI Chennai because we are getting a national award, in fact 3 awards, for the best programs, then for the best TV commercial. Where's Ramesh? Ramesh, he is
Not a TV commercial, a documentary film on export division of Indian Railways.
Okay.
Documentary film.
Oh, wonderful. So congratulations. And then we have, since finance is very important, we have our treasurer get the best treasurer award, which is now become his, it's become his, you know. So yeah, so there's nobody there, and that's one. And then I wanted to also thank our past chairman Krishnan, because of him this YouTube is on, so you can also download it or use it wherever. All of you all can, it's there. Okay, great. And thank you, Krishnan, and also Abdul Qadir, who put all this together quietly sitting on there. You know, he's a typical PR man. See, they say in PR it's like sugar in the coffee or tea. You know, you can only taste it, you can't see it. This is a perfect example of that. Yes, Chennai Petroleum, yeah, from Chennai Petroleum, and thanks to all the members for making this meeting such a marvelous meeting, and of course to the speaker. But the formal vote of thanks will come from Thiru, while the Secretary Muthu will present the next programs, and he'll tell you about what's happening. Yes, sir.
Can you just bring my mask?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Our next program is scheduled on March 25th. Our past chairman, veteran Thiagrajan, is going to make the presentation. The venue will be the same thing. Now I request Thiru sir to make the formal vote of thanks.
Please clap.
To give the present
duty of vote of thanks. Nice to see the doyens of our PRSI. Dharan is there, our CPCL, Kadar answers, Danny is there. They're all veterans. The two young guys worth mentioning are this Balay Balu and that Satyabhama, Rajadi Raja. Very positive entrepreneurial members, and they are the future of PRSI. And Satya and others will have less worry down the line. And Madam DT, Achi, we can call, she spoke very aptly about the need for preserving the Deccan culture. Her stint as an intact chairman should have been very lively and useful. She has got the grasp of the real India, that is the villages. And for a Madras Credit Society, which is founded in 1984, if I am Craft Society is founded in 1984, it has been a long journey, and she has created very many award winners, including the Kannamma of the latest Padma Shri awardee, 8-year-old, and the next turn should be to the Guru. Shishya got Padma Shri, and Dr. DT should get Padma Shri, DT Achi. And these are all the days changing in Delhi culture. It's Padma Shri is not bought, it is conferred. It is conferred deservingly by the present regime, and let us hope it moves further like that. 25 years of society is another feather in the cap, and our chairman Satyan is enabling them in his own way. I have been there as a Rotary member and also part of PRSI National Conference, where we took all the North Indian guys. I was made to sit in the Chettinad house with the Kilijosiam, and all the guys were all asking all the questions to the to that guy, and he was telling in Tamil, and I tried to translate it into my known English and Hindi. The PowerPoint was very informative, and the textile fanatism of Dr. Achi Doctor is very much visible there. She is in fact biased towards the textile division also. Nice to note 4 coties are fully encouraged, and it has also includes 2 Fulbright scholars, which is a pinnacle of glory. And as Satyan said and other seniors like Ramesh said, Ramesh has been with the L&T, and they are one of the, along with Ramana, one of the important enablers for Dakshina Chitra also. And social media marketing is very, very apt. I request all the students to concentrate on that also, as you must ask more questions. கேள்விகளை நான் கேட்கட்டுமா நீ கேட்கட்டுமா ஐயோ எனக்கு பதில் சொல்ல தெரியாது கேள்விகளை நான் கேட்கிறேன்னு ரமேஷ் அது மாதிரி நீங்க நிறைய கேள்வி கேட்கணும். That alone would be useful. So you must provoke the speakers. That's the way you will get the better answer and your visibility also. So we also have to thank a good number of students from Satyabhama, MOP Vaishnav College, Stella Maris, Wales University, and also those who are students at heart. And I also have to thank the media people who have come here, and also our YouTuber Krishnan, and of course the elders like Danny, who have laid the roadmap for all these programs, is worth mentioning. So hope this new year we have to move further forward as chairman, and our Balu, our Satyabhama and Ramesh has said, to move towards more physical meetings. And the next meeting is slated on
24th.
What is the topic?
How to write a book.
How to write a book.
R.V. Rajan. And thanks for attending this, and we thank the hotel management for giving us a good tiffin, and also all the people who enable, including our camera guys and our presenters and the audio people, live streaming guys also.
It's gone across the world. The
Eastman photographers.
Eastman photographers.
Eastman photographers. We have heard of Eastman cloths in Tirupur, now Eastman photographers are also there.
Eastman films in
Eastman films. Guys, thank you so much, hope you must have enjoyed it. And 3 cheers to Dakshina, Chitra. Thank you.
Meeting is hereby closed, and look forward to seeing you again on 25th. If any of you all want to take a photograph with her for memories, please go ahead.